began to emerge to prominence as a consequence of that boycott. He's always already seen as the orator and leader of the movement. And even though there's been a number of books, both scholarly and popular, that have been written on the role of women in the 1955 boycott, and those women actually invited Dr. King to come join the boycott, right? He's always already seen as kind of the dominant figure within the movement and how we think about this period. So then Davis wondered aloud, quote, how can we counteract the representation of historical agents as powerful individuals, powerful male individuals, in order to reveal the part played, for example, by the Black women domestic workers in the Black freedom movement? Equally important, she queried, quote, why is it so difficult to imagine and acknowledge what must have been among these Black women, an amazing collective imagination of a future world without race and gender and economic oppression? And
nobody decides that they want to be a single mom. But for me, some of us, that's just not true. I didn't decide to be a single mom. I didn't decide to be a mom at all. And I needed to hear, it's time to stop. I needed to hear, pat you on the head, your legs fly open. I needed to hear, close them. I needed to hear that subsequent pregnancy was a real issue. I'd never heard of that. I needed commentators. I needed Healthy Start. I needed people, places, things to say, hey, because I didn't choose to be a mom. I said, thank you, and a baby was the result. I said, I need somewhere to be tonight. You understand? While I chose to have those babies after becoming pregnant, I didn't necessarily understand the choice that I was making getting to it. I know sex led to babies, but I didn't think this thank you, I need to stay here, was going to lead to that. You understand what I mean? I didn't think that some of the things that I needed to survive were going to lead to that. And so for those women who looked at me sideways when I had one in a stroller and one on my back, it took me quite a many years to get it, but understanding what subsequent pregnancy is and continuing to hear that this does not have to be my choice, that this does not have to be my circumstance. I don't have to place myself in situations where this is going to be my end result. Some of us need that. Everybody, some of us, experiences our teacher, and we're all different. I just don't want to silence those complaints from the other end because somebody heard him. I know I did.
You gotta be careful if you get with the wrong woman and she's your lid. You gotta get with a woman that's your covering and all this stuff. And it sounded really nice. It's going viral and it sounds really nice, right? But my problem with that is this, right? So first of all, for some reason, I feel like this is always the narrative when it comes to Black women dating a Black man, right? The two sides is too big, 8 years, the pain of birthing him. Yeah, she said the pain of birthing him was more than the pain that she endured, while raising their kids or birthing their kids, whatever. So, first of all, I just always feel like that's always the narrative for Black women for some reason. It's like whenever a Black woman wants love, for some reason, we gotta be the ones to raise these niggas. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas how to love. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas responsibility. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas respect. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas how to be financially responsible. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas to wear a condom. Stop fucking spreading your seed every fucking where. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas about God. We gotta be the ones to teach these niggas how to wash they fucking dick. Cause a lot of y'all stank dick having ass motherfuckers don't know how to fucking properly wipe your fucking dick. But yet you out here spreading your damn seed like you got Wakanda money, okay? So it's always like Black women always gotta be the ones to teach these niggas everything, right? So I'm just watching it and I'm like, okay, this sounds nice, but what if us black women are really just tired of raising y'all niggas? Like, does anybody care about the fact that black women is tired? We is tired. We's tired of raising y'all niggas. We tired of birthing y'all niggas. Bitches got fibroids. Bitches' uteruses is tight as fuck. Bitches got irregular periods. Bitches is tired of birthing you fuck ass niggas. Does anybody care that we're tired? No. Society doesn't give a fuck that the black woman is tired because for some reason, society just thinks that, you know, the black woman just is here to endure all the fuckery. Because we're so strong, because we're so ambitious, because we're you know, we have so much faith, and because, you know, we're so level-headed, and we're like, it's like society just, these niggas really think like that's what we're made for, to be birthing y'all niggas all the motherfucking time, bitch. I don't got time to be birthing y'all niggas. I don't got time to be birthing you bitch ass niggas. I'm sorry. Okay? So I was watching that clip, right? And then right after that, as I'm getting ready, because I'm headed
that you're looking for. Now, this isn't, I don't want this to sound bougie or high cotton, as Kamala would say, but it's just rationale. You know what I mean? It's just thinking about it rationally. If you're trying to date, you're trying to find somebody who you really, really like, and you're tired of the online dating scene because there's a whole bunch of scrubs and there's a whole bunch of liars on there, and you want to meet somebody in person so you can see if you vibe with them, or if you like their energy, or you like their spirit, or you like their personality in person, which I highly recommend doing everything in person because online is getting crazy. Then you think a little bit about where you think they might be and put yourself in that place. So Kamala is spot on. Embassy parties might be dope. The only thing I'll have to say about that is you might need to put a little money, because embassy parties, at least in DC where I live now, are expensive, and it can be, they're not always free. Sometimes the tickets are like $200, $100. There was one at the French embassy the other day. There was one at the British embassy. They're having a New Year's party at one of the embassies, I can't remember, and the tickets are expensive. But you know, again, if you're wanting somebody who is like of a higher standard, you might need to invest. You know, you might need to invest, and you might need to invest, and you might need to go to some of these higher caliber parties. Right place, right time. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Some of those statistics are designed to be to give you some sort of crazy emotional appeal. So you're like, oh, what? Oh my God, I'm never gonna get married, or oh my God, every black man is a criminal, or oh my God, every black man is in jail. It's not the truth of it. It's not the truth.
As we rise as revolutionaries, there's nothing wrong with that word. To be radical means just to get down to the roots. And it is okay for us to get down to the root. As we carry our communities, sometimes with some folks, sometimes without folks. As we love our babies, whether we birth them in the world or somebody else birthed them in the world, whether you that kind of mama or surrogate mama, I'm talking about the mama spirit, and the spirit of a black woman who loves her children no matter what the world has to say about them. Somebody gotta love our babies.
I'm going to ignore the fact that I said this like y'all did in the other videos. So I'm going to say this again more clearly. This video is not directed towards all black men. But you know what? At this point, y'all, I don't care if y'all mad. I don't. Y'all gonna just have to be mad. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, and we will literally cuss your ass out. And 5 minutes after that, we will ask you if you hungry. Okay? So this video is going to be my y'all hungry video. Are y'all hungry? Because, child, okay, so I was reading the comments in my previous video, and it's just like all women are like, yeah, this and this, but I live in Oregon and I live in Utah, and it's the same thing here, and da-da-da, and black men and this and that, and they do this and then they do that, and it's like, y'all don't see that this might be a problem? Like, we might need to just pull it back home. It made me feel like we do need to have this discussion. And you might not like the message, but don't get mad at the messenger, you know? Because that's the problem in our community. It's like we know when we're fucking up, or we know when we're not handling things correctly, but our culture is tuck it under the rug as culture. Like, put it up, make it go away. Just pray about it. Like, just it's stuff like that to where we don't go to the source and figure out like what is wrong. You know, it's some stuff we can't pray about. It's other things that we need to do, like more work that we need to do. Go to the
because I am not the bad black man. It's not me. It's not my friends. It's not my dad. It's not my brothers. It's other black men, other really, really bad black men out there, which is exactly the same as what white people do. In that way, you can use your voice to elevate the voices of those who are less privileged, because people are going to listen to you more so than the less privileged. I mean, even if you look at the way the NHS treats black women in hospitals, the rate of deaths from black women in maternity wards. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Sincerely Owosa. If you haven't come across my channel before,
this video, because I've been seeing something that is so disturbing to me. You hear about it all the time, and you know, you see things in the media and you see things on television, but on my Facebook page, with people that I'm friends with on Facebook, I mean, you know, I don't really know them like that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's like directly in my face, and you get to interact with them when you see these outrageous, bogus ass posts. It's just really irking me, and I was like, you know what, I need to talk about this to get it off my chest, because I've been responding to these posts, and I usually don't, like, but it's been so in my face, and I've constantly seen it over and over again. Black men making posts and sharing content that is disrespectful towards black women. I've seen people post things like, about, you know, interracial dating, show posts of black men with white women, and oh yeah, black women get their act together, or if they don't get their act together, then this is gonna happen more often. And then people are commenting like, yeah, because you could barely even get a hi. Black women won't even give you the time of day. They'll give you a nasty look if you say hello to them. So I commented underneath that, and I was like, that, what a shame. So your mom was nasty towards your dad. Are you fully black? Are both of your parents black? If that's the case, then how is it that you're here? Because black women, every black woman has an attitude. Every time I see these messages and these comments, I'm just like, who hurt you? Who hurt you? I don't see any other race of men doing this. Constantly, blatantly disrespecting their women. And no woman is perfect. And I'm tired of the notion that white women, or just non-black women period, are docile and they just do whatever you tell them to do, because that is BS. And then I've seen a post where like a guy was like, oh, if you don't have money, then a black woman won't want you, and black women don't want to help you through the struggle. And I'm like, this has got to be a joke, because there's so many black men that father multiple children, that don't take care of their children, that had a woman fell in love with him and decided to try to see his potential, and he still turned out to be a piece of trash. So where are they getting this from? A 1 in a million instance? And then it just makes me feel so sad at how disgusting it is that they're constantly talking down on their mothers. And I literally write that. I'm like, you are talking about your mother so badly right now. It's so disgusting.
Family feed of text messages the other day. And essentially, my sister had posted something that was a black guy that was like, women need to reverence the man that they're with as their lord and their king, and that black women, that's the face we had. Wait a minute. But she basically was like, black women don't give black men the respect that they need. So because you don't give them the respect that they need in the relationship, then you don't get the relationship or the husband out of the relationship. Obviously, I've been divorced for 10 years, so I have no idea. But I had the faith that you had, Lene, like, wait a minute, I got to call him Lord and treat him like a king before we say that I do. I don't know. I don't know about that.
country, I'm not sure whether you are aware of what is now happening in the Black Panther Party and the kinds of things that members of that party are doing now. First of all, if you're going to talk about a revolutionary situation, you have to have people who are physically able to wage revolution, who are physically able to organize and physically able to do all that is done.
Yeah, but the question is, how do you get there? Do you get there by confrontation, violence?
Oh, is that the question you were asking?
Yeah.
You see, that's another thing. When you talk about a revolution, most people think violence, without realizing that the real content of any kind of revolutionary thrust lies in the principles and the goals that you're striving for, not in the way you reach them. On the other hand, because of the way this society is organized, because of the violence that exists on the surface everywhere, you have to expect that there are going to be such explosions. You have to expect things like that as reactions. If you are a black person and live in the black community all your life and walk out on the street every day seeing white policemen surrounding you, when I was living in Los Angeles, for instance, long before the situation in LA ever occurred, I was constantly stopped. No, the police didn't know who I was, but I was a black woman. I had a natural, and they, I suppose, thought that I might be a, quote, militant. And when you live under a situation like that constantly, and then you ask me, whether I approve of violence. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense at all. Whether I approve of guns. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Some very, very good friends of mine were killed by bombs that were planted by racists. I remember from the time I was very small, I remember the sounds of bombs exploding across the street, our house shaking. I remember my father having to have guns at his disposal at all times because of the fact that at any moment we might expect to be attacked. The man who was at that time in complete control of the city government, his name was Bill Connor, would often get on the radio and make statements like, niggers have moved into a white neighborhood, we better expect some bloodshed tonight. And sure enough, there would be bloodshed.
A couple of videos for some other things, but something I saw threw me out of the mood, and something I heard threw me out of the mood too. I'm gonna start it from here. I'm getting ready, putting on my makeup, doing my thing, and while I'm doing my thing, I decided I want to get on Instagram, and I follow this dude, and he posts this girl on his story. Keep in mind, I don't talk to the dude, I don't know the dude personally, I don't know anything about him. I just think he's cute. So he posts a girl, I guess a girl that he thinks is cute, and she looked like this. I start feeling away because it's like, why do all girls have to look like this or have like European features, like a small nose and like orange, blue, green, purple eyesight? Why do we have to do that? I guess I'm in my feelings or whatever about it, but I'm like, why am I in my feelings? And then I thought again, and I was like, it's because I'm insecure. But then I was thinking, where did that insecurity come from? I tweeted a tweet a while back, like something about like, if somebody give me a compliment, I don't believe it. And that's 100% facts. Like, I don't be believing it. And I don't know why I don't feel pretty. And I think it's partially, I felt like I was funny looking growing up. And then I get older, the guys that I date, they don't think that my look is cute, a black woman's look, like the lids, the eyes, like my eyes gotta be freaking green, gray, all of that just to be pretty, and I don't like that. Like, no shots towards the girls because they're beautiful women, but it's like men, and mostly like black men, they don't really like us for some reason.
Folks, sometimes without folks. As we love our babies, whether we birth them in the world or somebody else birthed them in the world, whether you that kind of mama or a surrogate mama, I'm talking about the mama spirit and the spirit of a black woman who loves her children no matter what the world has to say about them. Somebody gotta love our babies. Somebody got to believe that they are worthy. You better say that.
Washington or the Montgomery bus boycott. We should, as a community, at least acknowledge their collective accomplishments and be more invested in telling these histories in a more fuller way that includes their experiences. So as a historian of Black women's activism, I read this quote from Davis as a call to action in a couple of different ways. First, I saw her as urging us to move past our conventional understandings of civil rights, Black power, and the ways in which we remember and use this history. And calling for us to move beyond Black power, as she phrased it, as a distinct set of historical moments, I think what Davis is asking us to do is rethink the periodization of the civil rights and Black power era. Or the idea that the civil rights movement began in 1955 with a tired Rosa Parks. She's still always tired, right? Even though we know she wasn't, right? And the Montgomery boycott, and ended in 1965 with the federal legislation of the Voting Rights Act. And the story as it goes that after the failure of the Civil Rights Act of 64 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to produce kind of meaningful change in Black people's lives at the everyday level, Black power came about. This kind of negative, violent brand of organizing as a remedy to social ills. Or as one of my advisors and one of the leading scholars of Black power often puts it, thinking about Black power as civil rights movement's evil twin. Second, I see Davis as asking historians, students, and fans of this period to move beyond focusing on a few Black men or powerful male leaders such as Malcolm X and Stokely Carmichael as the leaders and organizers of this movement. But I also saw her statement as a call to move beyond the idea that these men were the brains of this movement. And by that I mean that they came up with the ideas, the slogans, the organizational structures, the speeches, the ideologies that many major Black power organizations are known for and that they produced and promulgated. And most importantly, I read Davis as saying as if we did all of these things, we might be able to see how Black women across regions and ages and political affiliations thought about their lives, imagined how they could be different, and then engaged in really concrete efforts to make these differences into a reality.
She got something to say, but she was marinate. That's what she's doing. But she's thinking about it. She need a minute. No, Tari. Okay, so I would say for me, I do think that it is difficult being a Black woman that does not date outside of Black men. And a big reason why it's difficult is because, one, a lot of our men are in prison, they get murdered all the time. So like you said, there is a bunch of, there's not a bunch of men to necessarily choose from when you look at all the obstacles that come along with being a Black man, right? A lot of our Black men are not around, and it's not always due to their issues, right? This system will do those things. So I would say, though, that when it comes to dating anybody, we should use those same understanding that we would in dating anyone, right? Just because I only date Black men don't mean that I'm just gonna forego and date a trifling Black man just because he's Black and I can't find nobody to be with, right? I'm not gonna do that either. There are certain standards, and I would say that we do that in relationships a lot, right? We give a whole lot, and then we find out later that we shouldn't have. And I think the problem comes is that when you find there are things that make you not compatible, you're supposed to be like, I'm out right now. Like, you don't wait till it get too heavy in the game. And all of this waiting until you get married to treat him like a husband, like, I don't know about that either, because you get married and a piece of paper does not make them treat you right. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to have the same problems. If you love somebody and the relationship is going in a good direction, so you are catering to them and they're catering to you, and y'all are doing that for one another like partners, then I think that that's what you should judge, whether you should give a man your all or give him less. But you have to be willing to engage that. We have to stop going into relationships as women, period, giving our all without first testing the waters and finding out what are they willing to give back. What is this really about? Give somebody some time to show you the real them. When you don't live with people, people can put on fronts. You can live with people for a long time. I watch this show all the time, and there are women on there like, I was married for 20 years and didn't know my husband was a rapist. You think you know people and you don't know people. So stop giving them your all when you ain't known them but 6 months and y'all don't live together, because it's a whole lot you probably don't know, right? You need to take our time and not be women who do that to some extent. When it comes to Blackness, we may be to some extent desperate, and people don't want to hear that word. But I live in a place like you, Lene. There's not a lot of Black men here in Colorado, and a lot of them are dating white women or Hispanic women. They're dating non-black women, right? And they choose these women over the black women. And there's not a very large black population here of men. The good ones are taken, so good for that sister, right? And then the rest of them are dating outside the race. And when they're not looking for sisters like you. They're looking for Becky's, right? Because that's what they want. So for me, I'm just gonna sit and wait my moment. But if I meet a really nice brother that's fine and he seems like he got it going on, but he full of shit, I'm just gonna be alone again and let him go on too, and find him a Becky or somebody else to cause problems too. So we need to evaluate the person, regardless of the race. You need to evaluate the person, and if they ain't right, stop giving your all before you know who you messing with. That's what I would say.
Fiance. So there's this couple on 90 Day Fiance, right? Where this black guy, he has a really, really young daughter. He's not with the baby mother anymore. He finds this girl in France online. They start talking for a little bit. The nigga has never left the United States, right? His first trip out of the United States, he goes and he flies to see this bitch, right? So he goes to meet this French bitch. You know what I'm saying? The nigga think he finna land in Paris and be welcomed with croissant and chocolat. Lait à miel. The nigga thought he was gonna be in Paris. Oui, oui. Want to smash that pussy. Oui, oui. And sister girl was like, I'm sorry. I have boyfriend. I forgot to tell you sorry. I have a menage. So the nigga's like, damn. Mind you, it's a white bitch. So the nigga's like, damn, that's fucked up. A nigga, this my first time flying out, like out of the country. Like I went on a leap of faith. This bitch got a nigga, blah, 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 blase, blase, whatever. So after she tells him this, he decides, she's like, well, you don't have to leave. I mean, I'm sorry that I disappointed you, but you don't have to leave. I can give you a tour of the Louvre. Je peux t'emmener à un tour de Paris, l'Eiffel Tower, croissant, biscuit, oui, oui. You know what I'm saying? She's like, nigga, I could take you on a tour. So he's like, you know what? Even though she got a man or whatever, I'm still gonna stay. Cause I'm optimistic, whatever. So a couple days in, they spending all this time together, and he like, damn, little mama, where your man at? Where your man at? And she's like, well, I just feel like, he's always telling me these nice things, but in face to face, he's not doing anything to prove to me that he loves me. And so now he trying to convince her that nigga, like, a nigga done flew out all the way. I done flew out. Like Young Miami said, a nigga done flew out all the way to Paris, oui, oui. You know what I'm saying? You might be the bitch for me. You know what I mean? So as he's trying to convince her, she's like, well, how are the girls in America? And he was describing, the girls he's dated, black girls. And he's like, black girl, he didn't say it, but the nigga was Big Mama Black. Like he's like, oh, the girls there, they always get mad at everything, and you just seem so nice. And as he was saying that, I'm like, you know what, you black. I gotta be careful with my words, because I got a damn platform. But I was just watching it, and I was like, you know what, you niggas are something else, right? Why is it that when you get to these other girls of other races, you gotta put us down to be down? Like, just say, you know what? I've tried to date the other girls, but it's just not my thing. Why the fuck you gotta say we mad? You know why we mad? Cause we tired of birthing y'all niggas. Because guess what? As lucky as, I don't know what Pastor John Gray's wife is. I don't know what her name is. But as lucky as she is to have birthed a nigga and the nigga stayed down, a lot of these niggas, they don't stay down. What happens is, we out here birthing y'all niggas. letting y'all niggas borrow our car while we down to the motherfucking call center answering motherfucking phone calls all day. Hello, thank you for calling Sprint. Meanwhile, they out there circulating and twerculating and percolating in your goddamn car. You know what I'm saying? Fucking the next bitch in your motherfucking Honda. Okay? Burping y'all niggas. We tired of burping y'all niggas. We tired of passing around your motherfucking mixtape. But then when you get on, you leave our ass for a white girl. And guess what? After we birth y'all niggas, and you go to the next bitches, the other bitches who ain't gotta birth y'all, them hoes get the luxury treatment. They get flued out. Bitches get flued out. So when you was with me, you was borrowing my Toyota Camry, because you know I'm Haitian. That's what I drive, a Toyota Camry or a Toyota Corolla, but that's beside the point. But when you was with me, you was borrowing my shit. But when you get over to the other bitches who ain't gotta birth you, bitches is getting flued out. Bitches is getting Chanel purses. Bitches is getting money. Bitches is laying down in mansions. Oh, but when I was fucking you down in your mama house. Right? But when I'm done with birthing you, bitches is getting flued out. Bitches is getting 25K put in their account. Bitches is getting Chanel bags. Bitches is living the life that I should have lived for birthing your punk ass.
Belief system, a phrase called black men are the weakest links. I don't know where this came from. I'd like to think Black Twitter. And I just wanted to discuss a few things about the phrase. Okay, let's start off with why people think and people say that black men are the weakest links. A lot of black men, not all of them, a lot of them are kind of like the white people of black people. Do you know what I mean? Basically, black men have the most privilege out of black people as a whole. They're men. And your gender affects a lot of the things and affects your standing in society, because we live in a very patriarchal, misogynistic society that feels like men are, deemed as bad. I mean, I don't even have to go into that. But I think another thing is that black men are also very hypersexualized, which is not a good thing. But because they're hypersexualized, they have, as well as their gender, which is a privilege, some of the time they also have a lot of desirability, and not just amongst black women. They have desirability amongst white women, Asian women, etc. As I said, this is not a good thing at all. Hypersexualization is basically fetishization. Y'all know I struggle with that word. Fetishization is basically that, and it strips the person of any of their attributes and any of the things that make them them, and it reduces them to a 2D object. It objectifies them. So obviously that's not good, and that's one of the drawbacks of being a black man. But the privileges that they are afforded makes them blind to a lot of things that affect black women. So black women, in terms of the white gaze and in terms of white supremacy, are to be. Doesn't mean that they are in reality, but they are supposed to be, and they are seen as, from the white gaze, as at the bottom of the totem pole, especially dark-skinned women. I've talked about colorism before. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that below. So because black women in general, I'll go into dark-skinned women hopefully later on, but because black women in general suffer from a lot of disadvantages.
And just date a white man. Like just leave the brothers alone. Just date a white man. I should not have to date outside of my race in order to be treated the way I deserve to be treated. That is a big issue, and we're ignoring it. Instead of asking, okay, what can we do better? What can we do to love y'all better?
Y'all are going to every video about how women feel about men, and y'all are bashing the women in the video who are telling their story about men. It's like, am I supposed to just not say nothing? I am going to talk about this, and I am going to talk about stuff that matters to me or stuff that happens to me, because I am true to me and I am true to women. Like, are y'all mad that I'm speaking my truth? Because it is my truth. Instead of figuring out, okay, how do we fix it? What's the solution? Y'all basically like, don't talk about that. That bitch talking about that. She bitter. She this. She that. No, we are tired. We have been dealing with this for generations. When does it stop? I'm gonna keep saying this is not about all black men. It's not. I have uncles that have been with their wives since I was born. I have never known any other woman that they've been with except for my aunties. I've never heard of any cheating stories of my uncles cheating on my aunties. You know? So it's just like, I've seen that. I come for that. I'm not bitter. It's like, I know what a black man could be, but why don't y'all be that? Like, I've had those images in my life all my life. Y'all know, like, us as women, we want the futures because it just look good. Like, we want the Quavos. Like, and that's the problem. That's what's wrong with us. Get you a Russell and you'll get treated correctly. Like, duh. Like, that's obvious. But I feel like as women, we have this we want to fix it type of mentality, that we want to get an offset or we want to get a future and we want to turn him into a Russell. And you cannot do that all the time. It doesn't always work. The type of men that I was choosing and the type of men that I was letting choose me, I take full responsibility for that. So that's
research writ large and my most recent book, Remaking Black Power. The book offers the first comprehensive overview of the Black Power era as viewed through the lens of Black women theorists and activists who engaged in the movement across locales and organizations and ideological and political affiliations. It begins with an examination of Black women thinkers and organizers in the 1940s and the 1950s and their role in laying the ideological groundwork of the 1960s and 70s. It then focuses on women from some of the major Black Power organizations over these 2 decades. For example, the second chapter talks about the Black Panther Party. And in this part of the book, I explore Panther women's efforts to reshape the party's gender politics and ideology through their intellectual production. The third chapter takes a similar approach, but applies it to women who are part of cultural nationalist groups or practitioners of a philosophy called Kawaida. Now, many of you probably have encountered Kawaida mostly through Kwanzaa, right? This is a holiday that was created in 1965 by Kawaida's creator, Maulana Karenga. It's lots of K's there. It is probably the biggest manifestation of it. But you might also know of it from activists who changed their names, who adopted different hairstyles or dress. And the idea behind this is that a cultural revolution needs to be the precursor to a political revolution. You're shedding all the cultural markers of oppression in order to prepare for that.
Because what they don't, you're talking about Black women, you're talking about your mother, you're talking about your sister, you're talking about your aunts, your cousins, your potential daughters. Why? Like, when I was a kid, I would always get told, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Whatever happened to that? Nobody's perfect. And I also had to write something to a man where I can't remember every single post, but this is just general. Like, I've been seeing this a lot, and it's really bothering me. Like, what did we do to make y'all hate us so much? And I'm not saying all. Clearly, I'm not saying all. But a lot of Black men seem to have this hatred for Black women.
I found in my, living 23 years of living as a Black woman, I don't think that Black men really like us. And I'm insecure about it. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story. So this dude that I was dealing with it back in the day, the second to last time I saw him, I'm crying my eyes out, and he was saying like how he's moved on, whatever, blase blase. But he like green-eyed girls. He got this thing for like girls with green eyes, and I never paid attention to it. The last couple words he said to me was like I was like, you like her because she's better than me. And he was like, well, instead of saying, no, she's not better, the looks aren't everything, tell me why this dude said, what did he say?
somebody is always gonna look better than you or be better than you.
And not saying it in like a malicious way to attack me, but he was saying it like it's fact. And there is some truth to it, but you don't say that to somebody that you care about. I can't help the way that I was born. I can't help the way I look. It's just me. What else I'm supposed to do about it? I'm not gonna go out of my way to change myself to fit your beauty standards. So after he said that, it was a long history with him, but after he said that, I've had this thing subconsciously where I feel like a not a beef with girls with like pretty eyes, because I would call a girl individually, like on her own. If she's pretty, I would call her pretty, no matter what eye color it is. But I feel like no matter what I do, I'll never look like them, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not going out of my way to wear no contacts, because I'm not doing that. I'm not getting my eye color changed like Tiny. I don't want to do that. Like, why do I have to do that? Because I don't. And ever since then, I just feel like I'm not pretty. When I don't have makeup on, I don't feel pretty. Even with makeup on, I started to not feel pretty because I don't have, for example, green eyes. I don't have that naturally. I don't have none of that. And men, why do y'all do that? That makes no sense to me. And we as women shouldn't base our idea of beauty off of a man. Because that's all we do. We just change that stuff so the dudes can look good. Look at Tiana Tiny. She done went and got her butt done, her boobs done, her teeth done, her eyes done to look good for him. And look, he went and started talking to somebody else that got brown eyes, black eyes. She got surgery now. But you did all that for what? To keep him happy? So if you're about keeping these dudes happy, you need to learn to love yourself. I need to learn to love myself. Because right now in 2019, I'm 23. I think, yeah, I'm 23. I don't. Like, I love my spirit, but when I look in the mirror, I don't think I'm pretty. Like, when people tell me that I'm pretty, I think it's because they haven't experienced women that look better. So I don't think I'm pretty. I just feel like you're just saying it because you don't know better. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's a bad way to think of it, but you get what I'm saying, right? I need to learn to love myself. I hope y'all learn to love yourself too. Bye.
Off on the men. You got kids, you got to stop doing that too.
That's a whole another one right there. See, is Dr. Shawn, you ready to put your stank on it yet? You still thinking?
No, I have a lot of thoughts that's in my head because we can't take one brush to paint the whole room, right? There's so many aspects that go into that situation. But I, for one, I've been married the first time and I divorced, and don't worry about that because I ain't going back that route ever. But my husband now, if I mean, everyone has to go into a relationship with boundaries, first of all. What I see a mistake that a lot of people make is not in giving your all, because I believe in love. I believe in coming from an energy sphere of love, and I'm gonna love people regardless of where you are. Because in every relationship that I encounter, every relationship that we encounter is going to be an experience. It's going to teach us something. You can give somebody your all, and he can give you his all, but that doesn't mean it's going to lead to marriage, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be successful forever. So I'm not going to withhold love because I'm playing dating games. That's for me. But it doesn't mean in not withholding love that I won't have boundaries. There are certain boundaries that I have in place. Like, for example, to speak to Nicole. No, when before I even married my husband, somebody else I dated that person for 2 years, never met my children. Never met my children. So if I can't gauge where this relationship is going, you're definitely not meeting my children. You're not coming around my family. I'm not going to do anything really special for you. What I mean by that is don't ask me to co-sign nothing in your name. You can't use my credit card. You can't borrow my cell phone. You can't eat my food, like unless I invite you over for dinner. Like there's certain things that's just not going to happen. But even though I have those standards, and even though I have those boundaries, it doesn't mean that I don't love you. When I'm with you, it's going to be the world. We're going to have fun. We're going to engage. We're going to laugh. We're going to do all the things that I do. Because why should I stop being me because I'm playing these games? But it doesn't mean that I place myself at risk of harm or to be taken advantage of. It doesn't mean that those things have to happen. I'm still going to treat you with precaution, but in love. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make is they misinterpret this to mean that you're going to give somebody your all, you invite them to everything, including your bank account. You don't do dumb stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff to get you hemmed up. You don't do that. But it doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. If you're somebody that likes to cook, then cook. If you invite them over and you want to give them a plate, then give them a plate. That doesn't change anything from who you are. But you have to understand that everything that we do is a lesson to be learned. And you should be taking notes that the universe gives you. So you can take those notes, write them down, and then like Michelle said, you gotta bounce. Don't stay in it trying to change someone. And that's the mistake that too many women make. This crap about the man that they know from the ribs ain't good. But they try to think that these things are gonna change. Chances are they're not. They're not gonna change. I never stayed to change anybody. If things was, got a little rocky or you got disrespectful, it's love. I operate out of love. We cannot live in the same spectrum of hate. It's on opposite ends. It's on opposite ends of the same spectrum. So if you're showing me negative things, if you're showing me things that does not communicate love, then you can't be with me because your negative energy is going to bring out the worst of me. And people love me until they meet the nasty me. And I don't like the nasty me showing up. I like to be in love because I'm vicious. I'm from the Bronx. Don't meet the nasty. No. I'm not no more.
Spirit and the spirit of a black woman who loves her children no matter what the world has to say about them. Somebody gotta love our babies. Somebody gotta believe that they are worthy. You better say that, because we know that this world treats them differently. How is it that our children are seen by law enforcement as older than what they really are? How is it that our suspension rates among our black children higher than anybody else? How is it that they cannot live in this world and enjoy being children without being vilified, or in the words of Ice Cube, their skin being their sin? Black mamas have a unique responsibility in this world to both love and lift our babies. And love sometimes means letting them know how it's going down, but to love them. I don't often share this story when I go places, but I remember when I found out that I was pregnant. And my husband is one of them red bone, light skinned, red hair fellas. Red hair, right, like Sinbad. But as I was rejoicing about the blessing of being able to bring another life into this world, also what beset my emotions was the fact that my child was going to be born into a world that would judge them before they took their first breath. So I prayed a black mama's prayer that not only would God birth that my baby would be born healthy, and I didn't find out the sex beforehand, but not only that they were healthy, but that they would not have my complexion. It's a sad state of affairs that in this country still, colorism is a thing. That is bad enough to be of color, but that when you have to decide whether or not being lighter skinned will get you some extra breaks. Now that's the part of our history we don't talk about enough. That what hate and racism has done to us as a people to make us damaged goods in a way that we hate our very existence based on how dark or how light our skin is. And that we have been programmed in this country to hate how we are birthed with our lips and our hips and the natural state of our hair until, newsflash, folks buying it now.
There are some black men literally violating us as women, and we're tired of that shit. It's like, why do we have to be cheated on? Like, why give you 100% of me, but you can't give me not even 20% of you. Like, why is that? You know? And it's like, everybody has to be held responsible for this. It's the women who choose those men, it's those men who choose to do it, and it's those good men who could be fooling the men that do it to us but choose not to. You know, y'all need to be like, that ain't cool, bruh. You know, when is it gonna be the good men that step up and educate the trash men that we have to talk about in these videos? You know, we can't make y'all better. You have to attack that shit from the inside. You know, I can tell y'all what's happening to me, but I can't stop the next man from doing that to the next woman. And y'all don't realize, like, that shit is traumatizing. You know, imagine being in a relationship or different relationships and you get the same type of treatment back to back to back. That breaks people. Like, that shit is traumatizing. So if y'all have the situations where y'all have to deal with the savage women or like the gold digging women or like whatever y'all saying that these women have become, it's because y'all don't understand that y'all are dealing with people that have dealt with trauma. So of course you're not.
Black women are supposed to birth you. We're not supposed to birth you because guess what? I've seen you niggas, when y'all get to the foreign bitches, y'all niggas know how to behave. All of a sudden, y'all niggas got good behavior. All of a sudden, y'all niggas know how to treat a woman like a queen. All of a sudden, y'all niggas know how to pay a bill. All of a sudden, y'all niggas know how to get the damn oil changed in on the car without me asking you to do that fucking shit. Y'all, all of a sudden, y'all niggas know how to be the most righteous, upright motherfucker. But when you're with the black woman, I gotta birth you. Why? Why?
Black men see racism, they're affected by racism themselves, or black people most of the time, against racism. Racialized sexism, however, that affects black women, a lot of them don't see it. They don't see it, and a lot of them don't want to see it. And you know, I speak to some black men, and they're just like, "Oh, you generalize in a lot of your videos." No, I don't. I always try to make sure I say a lot. But you know what? One thing about saying a lot, or not all, but many, that takes away accountability. That means that if a black man is watching this video right now, if I say many or a lot, it's easing his ego, it's appeasing him, it's making him comfortable, it's taking away the accountability, so he doesn't feel like he has to be a force for change, because I am not the bad black man. It's not me, it's not my friends, it's not my dad, it's not my brothers, it's other black men, other really, really bad black men out there, which is exactly the same as what white people do. You see why they are the white people or black people? White people, many of them, when you talk to them about racism, it makes them very uncomfortable, and the privileges it affords them. So they put up a defense and they say, it's not all of us, it's only some of us. Okay, the energy that you're using to say it's not all, you can use that to actually being an ally, speaking up for black people, speaking up for issues.
I received a lot of interesting commentary on my letter, so I decided to respond via video. But before responding, I do want to read the letter for those of you who might not have read it. Dear black man, I have become a woman that you no longer recognize. I have allowed our enemy to impregnate me with his ideas and thoughts. I have allowed an illusion of independence to keep us separated. I have fooled myself into believing that my degrees places me degrees above you. I humbly come to you asking forgiveness. I come to you asking you to forgive me for not supporting you. I come to you asking you to forgive me for not truly loving you. I was taught to hate myself, then hate you. My desire to reproduce you was killed by our enemy. I apologize for teaching my daughters that you will fail them and continuing the cycle of an illusion of independence with them. I apologize for not encouraging you, for not being more patient with you, for not understanding your plight, your trials, and your tribulations. I apologize for thinking that in order to gain strength, I had to weaken you. I apologize for disturbing your peace in order to have peace within myself, or what I thought was peace. My life has been in peril without you. I try to convince myself that I don't need you, but you are a necessity. I can't even continue the cycle of life without you. I apologize for my harsh tone, for using my tongue as a sword, for telling you that you are nothing, when in fact, you are everything. I apologize for mistreating you, disrespecting you, neglecting you, and belittling you. I know that I have aided in breaking you, and I am beneficial in rebuilding you. I am acknowledging the wrongs that I have committed against you, and I'm confessing my faults. By acknowledging my wrongs doesn't mean that I am absolving you of your duty, but rather I'm recommitting myself to my duty to you. I have relinquished my wound from my enemy, and I'm returning it to its rightful owner, you. I try to walk this journey of life without you, but I realize that I should be walking this journey with you and beside you. I pray that you accept my sincere apology and that we can start the process of reconciliation so we can love each other and have productive and successful relationships that will set the standard for our children. A black man, I love you. Signs, a black woman who conceives that her womb was one of many. Now, that letter was very symbolic for me. But even in symbolism lies reality. A lot of the comments that I read were along the lines of, well, why should I have to apologize to black men? I've been hurt, I've been this, I've been that, or I'll apologize when he apologizes first. And that's the issue with that, sisters. We can't even humble ourselves enough to apologize.
Yes, I've been that girl where I've done way too much for a man that I should not have, like going out my way, just way too much, and he wasn't the one, and he wasn't doing for me. So at this point, I believe in reciprocity. Like, you don't have to not do something because y'all are not married, but if you see that he's giving you 100%, give him 100% too. Like, that's what I believe in more than.
I don't know why. It seems like there's like a competition thing going on, and it just seems like everybody's trying to out oppress each other. Like, well, oh, well, you ain't got it as bad as me. The plight of the black man in America is way worse than the black woman, and it's just, I'm like, it's so disappointing. You know what I mean? And a lot of people say, oh, black women want to be independent, and black women just want to be the man of the house, and black women are masculine and aggressive. Why? Do you have to ask yourself why? Be aggressive, and why do they have to be a father figure to their children? Because of absentee fathers. No one ever wants to think about that. No one ever wants to touch on that. Oh, she's got all these issues. Why? Because she probably 9 times out of 10 was hurt by a black man. I mean, duh. Nobody ever wants to touch on why. People don't just start acting a certain way out of nowhere. You usually have been through something, some type of trauma, some type of emotional.
In the book is show how even within the confines of what are often seen as conservative or traditional black power organizations, women still battled in that terrain and made tangible changes in terms of how men and the larger black power movement thought about their roles and were invested in their futures.
Black women are motherfucking tired of birthing you punk ass niggas. Alright? Because when y'all niggas wanna act right, you do. For the mother hoes. Okay? And no disrespect to them. No disrespect to them because at the end of the day, they're not responsible for that. But I just never understood that. This week I was watching Red Table Talk, and it's so funny. I was watching Red Table Talk, and Jada Pinkett touched on the whole why black women and white women don't get along, and it's because a lot of white women just hide behind this thing of I don't know. Like they act like they can't relate to the black woman. It's like, sis, you know what it's like to be oppressed. As a white woman, you know what it's like to be oppressed systematically. You know what it's like to not have anything in your name. You know what it's like to not be able to vote. You know what I'm saying? Y'all hoes know what it's like, and even to this day, it's a lot of systematic oppression that happens with white women. But the luxury that white women have is they get to hide behind their white husbands. Okay? So that's that. But Jada's mom touched on the whole thing about how she hates when black men get to white women, they give them a treatment that they don't give black women. And Jada was like, oh, I don't want to go too deep on that because I feel like it's not really that's not the white woman's fault, because the black man is the one that's basically you know, letting that happen. And I kind of felt like, ooh, Jada, I really wanted her to touch more on that, but she was right. She was right. The reason why I wanted her to touch more on that is because, yo, if you're on Twitter, you know, you've seen shit go viral before, and like I've seen like white girls tweet things like, well, you know, that's why black men come to us, because we don't give them a headache. We don't, you know, we don't talk back. We don't, you know, whatever. White girls tweet things like, well, you know, that's why black men come to us, because we don't give them a headache. We don't, you know, we don't talk back. We don't, you know, whatever. We don't do all the fuckery that you guys do. And it's like, no. That's not what it is, sis. Is that, sorry, but they just feel like you're easier than us because they don't like a challenge. It's like, for some reason, it's like they feel like they don't have to be challenged. And then they get to, so that's why they go to you. That's what I always felt about black men who down black women when it comes to comparing them to white women.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit up here and try to make it seem like black women are perfect and we don't have any faults and we don't have any flaws, because that's far from the truth. But no one is without fault or flaws. So I'm just so confused as to why we are constantly singled out, especially by our men. I do not see Latino men constantly making posts about Latino women. I don't see white men constantly making posts about white women. Even if they do talk about their women, even if they do disrespect them and beat them or whatever they do, you don't see it publicized as much as you see black men publicizing their hate for black women. We're supposed to be a team.
Many of us exude the mentality, the rhetoric, the quality, everything that was written on that paper in that speech. So many of us exude that. Name me another race of men on the planet who have had the hearts, minds, thoughts, and wombs of their counterparts completely turned against them. You cannot do that because it's only been the black man. And why were we so essential, sisters? It is because we have dual wombs. We have a physical womb and we have a mental womb. And both were vital in executing the plan of separation designed by slave masters. This is something you can not accept, but I can easily prove. According to the Willie Lynch letter, he talks about the breaking of the female and breaking of the male. He talks about making the black woman independent. Well, there's a Facebook page that says, I'm a strong black woman. I'm an independent black woman who don't need a man. Well, black woman, who taught you that you didn't need that black man? That's not something that just came in your head by yourself. It is the seeds of our slave masters, and it's wombs and generations of wombs that have perfectly executed his plan. And